And here is Jeff Schrader. Hello, Jeff.
Hello.
Can you tell us about this life vest and that medical helmet? Because it's
Yeah.
like pretty cool looking, and it's not too usual for me. I mean, I raised in Leningrad area, and I also used to dug up items, and I never had any helmets with red crosses because of it was not too popular in Eastern Front. But in United States, it's pretty common, if we can use this word.
Yes and no, and that is the key for that. Have you seen the item?
Yeah.
Okay, so the helmet is unique in that.
But this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's
grab
grab that. So the thing that separates this from the vast majority of them that are out there is that this one is actually real. It's much like Knight's Crosses at a military show. The joke is that you go to any American military show and you're going to find more Knight's Crosses than there were Knight's Cross recipients in the German Army in World War II. And it's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
The same is true for American medic helmets.
Mm-hmm.
They're a popular thing. People want to represent that in their collection, and so there's a lot of demand, but there really aren't that many legitimate ones out there in the world. So to satisfy that demand, people have created them over the years. And if you walk around any of these shows, you're going to find a number of them, and more often than not, they are actually being sold as what they are, a representative piece, not an original helmet. Sometimes, unfortunately, you find somebody who wants to believe something that isn't the case, but that's the case for all kinds of things like we have. But this is a good original helmet. It is a mid-war production American M1 helmet. It has the weld seam on the very front of the brim. Flexible chin strap loops, which came out after the fixed loops were found to be deficient. They changed the design to this, but that was still during World War II. Common wisdom is that they appeared after D-Day. They were in production in 1943, but they didn't really reach the Army until after D-Day, although there are historians that will argue exceptions to that rule, and they may very well be correct. It has the later high-pressure liner in it, with something that's a detail you typically don't see on most of the helmets around. That little silly leather liner chin strap has an olive green cam buckle on it. Those are the original buckles that existed during the war. The black cam buckles that we see afterwards were later replacements. Those are post-war pieces, but because that chin strap is often missing or broken, it doesn't really hurt the value of a helmet to have a later chin strap on it. It does, however, really help to have one that has the original. The helmet's not identified, but on the back, it has the last initial of the serviceman who had it, and then part of his service number, which is a marking that the Americans use for laundry, because they figure your initial and the last four of your service number, that's only going to relate to you in your unit. So those are researchable. It doesn't tell you exactly who he was specifically, but it will narrow it down to 10 or 20 people who would have had that combination. So if you have unit rosters, sometimes with a unit painted helmet, you can work backward from there. But it's just one of those things. If you want a good original helmet, unfortunately, they're rather expensive. If you want a representative example, that can be done a lot easier.
Yes. And this one costs like $5,700?
In that neighborhood, it's north of $5,000.
That's an amazing piece, actually. Yes.
It's something that is iconic for the American soldier in Europe in World War II. They really weren't used in the Pacific to any great degree because the prevailing wisdom is the German combatants might not have purposefully shot at aid men, whereas the Japanese combatants made a point of shooting the corpsmen.
Actually, it was the same between Soviet and German troops also, because they shoot each other anyway. So it was kind of forbidden to place any red crosses in Soviet army, and the same in the same time.
That's something that we see throughout World War II history, and it's something that people really aren't that attuned to, is that there were many different wars being fought.
Yeah.
The rules of war between the English and the Germans were one thing.
Yeah.
The way that the Germans interacted with the Russians and the Slavic populations were entirely different.
Exactly.
The same for the Americans. It was one thing in Europe and quite another thing in the Pacific. And so a lot of cultural differences, a lot of animosity, and the way that we viewed each other as populations came into play in the way that the operations were conducted.
That's true. I really enjoy this historical conversation, and maybe we can film more videos here at your table, because you have so many super cool pieces, like train chart items. I bought here a lot of train chart things, and especially I was surprised you maybe have the best choice of Russian Imperial stuff here with like train charts. I mean Russian Imperial canteens and mess kits, because I never bought it in other table but yours. So
we cannot guarantee that all the time. It just depends on what comes in. But in this case, we happen to be selling the collection of Jane Kimball, who wrote the book on trench art. And so suddenly we are the kings of trench art. Next year, it might be something entirely different. Submarine warfare. Your main enemy is not necessarily the enemy. It's the desire to make as many surfacing operations as you do diving operations. And that doesn't always work out, either through mechanical failure, crew mistakes, or enemy action. And for the longest time, there really wasn't any way to survive that. When you're in a submarine that goes down, you're simply not going to come back up. The Americans came up with a solution. An American naval officer by the name of Momsen came up with a rebreather lung that would allow you to, at a certain depth limit, to escape through an escape trunk in the submarine and float to the surface, rebreathing your own oxygen and equalizing the pressure. And I'm not a doctor. I don't, or a scientist. I don't know exactly how it works.
We do diving, so
so you know how how this goes.
I know how it goes.
A scary thing, but they all had to train with it. Same for the Germans. I don't know who came up with it for the Germans, but this unit is the German version of the Momsen lung. And we have one right here. We have some nice photographs of a couple of young fellas who bobbed to the surface after being attacked by an American vessel. And in this photograph here, they're being brought on board the deck of, I think it was a Coast Guard ship, actually, that dropped.
Actually, they got lucky to survive after that, because it's like pretty tough, especially that time, because my father was submarine officer in like torpedo room. He was a commander of torpedo room of Soviet submarine. So I know how it goes, and it's pretty tough our days. It's pretty tough our days to go through torpedo tube, and at that time it was like almost impossible mission, right? So that is why always paying attention on this life vest. And how much is it?
That life vest is marked at $4,950. $4,950. But if somebody came up and they were very interested and they had $4,500 in their pocket, they would walk away with it.
Can you mention your website?
Certainly. Yeah, you can see additional photographs and descriptions of the items at advancedguardmilitaria.com. We have a new catalog coming out March 7th. So the site is currently in closed mode, and then there will be the grand opening on the 7th when the new items are revealed.
That's cool. And actually also gonna launch my website, and here for English speaking audience, because people every time ask me about it. And I have only for Russian speaking audience, and those items are already gone mostly. But here, I live here now in Florida, so I can also show like some stuff from other dealers also, and maybe we can like work, and I can take some items or pictures and put it on my website and make us some kind of collaboration.
One of those.
Okay, we're gonna show it closer. But anyway, thank you very much for a variety of items you show every show, and I hope we can film more videos with you.
We'll do it again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching this video until the end. Thank you guys for your attention. Don't hesitate, ask questions in the comment section. Please like and subscribe this video and attention in the call. So have a good one and see you real soon.